and gentlemen of the Commissioner Board, Bruce Paterson, and Dr. Garrettson. I keep forgetting. Bruce Paterson, Garwood, New Jersey. And actually, I'm going to be keeping this short, so. Oddly enough, right? But anyway, Reso 206 is appointing Kevin Illing, I believe he's of Cranford, to the Union County Planning Board for a 3-year term. The county manager noted about 2 months ago those that wish to be appointed would need to submit a resume for review. So I guess for our public knowledge, what value does Mr. Illing bring to this planning board? Reso 207 is awarding $64,000 to Shade Environmental for courthouse environmental remediation. $64,000 is a lot of money for what appears to involve just one office being remediated. The question is, what specific part of the work is really making this cost so much? Reso 206 is awarding $37,000 to Lindenmeyer Monroe of Pennsylvania for specialty paper and envelopes. My question is, I thought our printing department, and I may be wrong, but years ago had been contracted out to Xerox Services. So the question is, why aren't they normally providing the paper? And also $37,000 is certainly a lot of money for paper and envelopes. What is so special about them?
For 209, right?
What was that?
209.
Yes. Reso 215 and 216 are renewing leases for the caretakers, the Watchung Stables and the county's Feltville Village. Question, the public would like to know what families are renting our houses that we own, and how much per month are we receiving in rent? And the last question is, who pays for the utilities, the building and grounds maintenance? As I'm sure there's a lease written up somewhere. Reso 221 is allowing the surrogate under a 5-year spending plan to spend document trust fund monies. So the question is, has this always been a 5-year type plan? Does this affect the budget under an item called surrogate to exceed the county entity budget cap? And what will these monies actually be paying for? Reso 223 is approving a collective bargaining agreement with the Assistant Prosecutors Association from year 2021 to 2023. Question, what are the new salary increments and other changes from the previous contract? And this appears to be retroactive to 2021. I remember when the assistant prosecutors actually came angrily before the freeholders about this back then. So it appears to be just another fiasco left over by ex-prosecutor Lindsay Rotolo on her way up the wealth ladder of government. Reso 233 is authorizing $800,000 of federal rescue plan monies to offset housing, maintenance, utilities, basic needs costs for eligible seniors and veterans impacted by the COVID-19. And I appreciate Chair Granados ahead of time sitting down just to explain a little further on this, so I appreciate that. A commentary, sadly, 2.5 years of the pandemic did take a major toll on so many of the county residents. The homeless, the infirm, the seniors, vets, those in affordable housing, the needy. I understand you recently enacted a $10 million county program to address this societal need. It was a Monday a couple of weeks ago, I think you mentioned it. A year ago, I did note this is going to be a tidal wave of need coming, and I thank you for doing this, and also Director Anderson's efforts on her part and her department's part. So our county budget is apparently sitting on an extraordinary amount of free cash, around $150 million in my opinion. So I'm glad, a lot of this will be used for the purpose of these needy. So thank you very much.
It wasn't short.
Reference to 207, 209, Director Graziano.
Through you, Chairman. The first question regarding the asbestos, or I'm sorry, the environmental contract with Shade Environmental. So that's for the floors 12 through 15 in the courthouse tower. There's some mold that was detected. There was some lead paint that was detected. And there's some asbestos in the pipe chase. This will handle those floors from 12 through 15 in a couple of offices. And just to note also that those floors are currently closed out. It except for 15. We have our credit union on 15. They're operating on the 15th floor, but this is in the other side, and the area in the office on 15 is closed locked, and nobody has access to that until the environmental company comes in. And the one regarding the paper, this is for any specialty paper that we have through our shared services with the municipality. We don't technically know what they're going to do, and we do have a contract with Xerox for other stuff. Last year we spent, I think, 2,000 more than this. I think we spent 39,000 last year on specialty papers and envelopes. So anything outside the regular paper, we have to go out for something different. Hope that helps.
Thank you very much, Director. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
215, 216, County Manager Oatman.
Thank you, Chairman. Both leases are for 1 year. The one at the stables is for $650 a month. The other one is for $800 a month. The head of the stables lives obviously at the stables. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the title of the employee who lives in the village. I'll have to get you that information. Long term, they are both county buildings, so things like roofs and other things the county is responsible for, the tenant's responsible for cleaning and such.
Thank you very much, County Manager. 221, County Surrogate.
Thank you. Through you, Chair Granados. 221 is a statutory requirement. All constitutional officers have a trust fund established pursuant to the statute referenced. $2 from several transactions go into a trust fund and can be used for the purposes of modernization and improving services to residents. So the 5-year plan outlines my plan to do just that within the Surrogate's office. As for an example of how we are going to improve services and modernize services in the Surrogate's office, I give you resolution 222, which is a purchase of a module through County Business Systems, which is the company which we purchased through the trust fund in 2011, our file management system, which is the system which we track all probate matters, administrations, guardianships, adoptions, minors funds, everything. County Business Systems in 2001 introduced a internet module which will allow residents as well as attorneys' offices to file probate matters and administration matters, and we are also going to do guardianships electronically. And that's one of the pillars of service improvements that we hope to bring to the Surrogate's office, which will also include online appointments and hopefully at some point a satellite office in another part of the county. There was a question in regarding the Surrogate's trust fund and its bearing on the cap. There is no bearing. This is a trust fund that exists outside of the county budget, the annual budget. So there is outside, it has no bearing, but no worries. The Surrogate's office will be below cap this year. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, County Surrogate. County Manager, you want to add upon some of their comments before?
Thank you, Chair. I found the answer. The village is Dan Bernier is the Director of Park Planning and Environmental Services, and for the stables, we have over 100 horses that need constant care and attention. We need somebody on site in case a pipe breaks or any other thing happens at the stables. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director Scutari, 223.
Good evening. The assistant prosecutor's collective bargaining agreement remains the same at 2% across the board for years 21, 22, and 23.
Thank you very much, Director. In reference to 206, Commissioner Betty Jane Kowalski.
Yes, in reference to Mr. Illing, he is a Cranford resident and business owner. He has more than 15 years of experience on Cranford Zoning Board of Adjustment and Planning Board, and serving on the committee that put together the master plan for Cranford. As well, he is well-versed in land use policy and practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Now, in reference to some other comments made before, the $10 million mentioned by Mr. Paterson is going to the ERAP program, which is a tenant-based program that the Commissioner Board approved, and strongly supports and helping out individuals with rental assistance who are facing tough times during COVID-19. And as we see, through the Department of Economic Development, through CDBG, they've not only done online applications, but also started doing in-person applications, in which individuals who have a hard time working the computer can now visit Elizabeth, and coming in March, April, they're going to be visiting Plainfield, other parts of the county, and making sure they're expanding it and trying to have access to many residents possible who want to take advantage of tenant-based rental assistance programs. In reference to the $2.2 million, which is another CDBG program that this county commissioner board approved, it's helping out organizations and municipalities across the county with a COVID response, updating your facility, updating your public building, and making sure that you get to know the needs of residents as we're getting past the post-pandemic. For number 233, that's one of the new initiatives brought forward this year as part of my chairman initiatives and supported strongly by this county commissioner board, which is a Union County safety net program that provide aid in the amount of $500 to 100% disabled veterans and senior citizens in Union County who meet the state's criteria for property tax exemption for disabled veterans and senior citizen property tax deduction to defray the cost of housing maintenance, utility costs, and basic needs. This initiative covers over 1,500 residents across the county who meet the criteria as outlined in the statute. This population qualifies for American Rescue Plan funds because the guidelines have established that the pandemic has disproportionately impacted seniors and veterans across this county and across this country. I want to thank this county commissioner board for always having an eye and providing additional services to seniors and to our veterans who've given so much for our country. And I also want to acknowledge Director Taylor, who's been spearheading this initiative. I think that's all the comments for this. Thank you very much. We will now move on to